Namaste, friends. We are again here with our new lecture. The topic of the lecture is very important. It's called as the types of bank account holders. In banking, the banks have to deal with different types of customers. So, what are their types? What precautions banks need to take while dealing with such customers? This is the topic of our talk today. So let us see we have into the box. Yeah. There are two major types of account holders. First are called as individual account holders, and second are called as institutional account holders. As you know, that individual account holders generally we don't differentiate between them, but for the sake of banks and for taking due precautions while dealing with such customers, banks have to make that kind of distinction. And secondly, bank account holders. There are many corporations, there are trusts, there are societies, there are Hindu undivided families, and there are lot many differences in the institutional account holders as well. So let us go into the details. Here, here we have the list of individual account holders. So individual account holders could be single or joint. So even if it is a joint account, but someone from that joint family is appointed as the main dealer of that family, and not everybody's signature is required over there. Only that all the other partners can, for example, father and daughter, they can have a joint account for an educational loan or for a saving account. Similarly, minor and parent can have a joint account. It is also called as individual account. So single accounts, as we know, that every common person that we have account in savings, we have a saving account with the bank is called as the single account holder. Single account holder, the provisions are very simple. That the signature on the checkbook that is belongs to that single account holder. Similarly, the debit card is given to him, whose PIN is also allotted to him. In case of joint accounts, sometimes both the people who have the account both can be given the debit card, but the checkbook is given to one of them, and the signatures of banks takes the declaration from them whose signature would be there on the checks, and as per their instructions the checks are dealt. Number two, the accounts of illiterate persons. As you know, that illiterate persons are those who cannot read or write. So, if you have the account of such illiterate persons, so many times it may happen that when they take help from somebody else while filling the withdrawal forms or depositing the slips or depositing the money, their money is likely to get misused. So, to prevent that from happening, whenever an illiterate persons open an account with the bank asks for your what is your educational qualification, and as per your educational qualification, you tick the specific columns. But when you tick that you are an illiterate, the bank employee gets alerted, and what he does is that he classifies your account as illiterate person's account. And when that is done, banks take extra precautions while dealing with such persons. For example, when he attests his thumb impression on a withdrawal slip, or a check, so bank does not allow any other person to represent that person. Means his check cannot be presented by somebody else. his withdrawal slip cannot be presented by somebody else. He has to be present there, and the bank employee should confirm that he wishes to withdraw that much amount of money from his bank account. So it is always a bit risky to deal with the checks of the illiterate persons given by the illiterate persons. Hence, even if you are dealing with such illiterate persons, you should take precaution that when you are taking check from such person, you should not commit to a large amount, because the check might get dishonored due to many reasons. So if you are making any transactions with the illiterate persons, so you should take a due precautions. Similarly, the banks also have to take due precautions. Minors who are below 18 years of age, they can also open their account. Government has done this to promote the habits of savings into the account holders, small account holders by age. So those children can open. Nowadays, you know that many times the government scholarships are getting directly deposited into the account holders, into the accounts of the account holders, that is the beneficiaries, the students. So the students get these scholarships directly deposited into account. So this helps to curb the corruption in distribution of scholarship. That is important. But when you are dealing with minors, again, minors are not provided with checkbook. So the very basic thing is this: that what differentiates the account of the minor and the major is this, that the minors don't get any checkbook for their account. So when the minor gets major, so he can apply for a checkbook stating that he has or state, not just stating but proving that he has crossed the minor's age and now he is a major. As you know that whether it's an account of illiterate person, single person, or a minor, KYC is a must. Remember this for even for your exams point of view, that KYC is know your customer. Know your customer means banks should, these are the norms declared by the Reserve Bank of India in 2005. The norm says that the banks must have enough information about their customers, about their identity, and about their address. So this helps in stopping the Benami transactions or illegal transactions. So for that, this is being done. So we must remember that the minors similarly can have account, but banks take due precautions without giving them a checkbook. Okay. So these are the minor accounts. So when they get major, if they prove that they have got major, so they can apply for a checkbook and get it. Right. Number 4, the accounts of the married woman. Accounts of the married woman. So what is the specific thing about accounts of the married woman? That married woman can open accounts. So there is no harm in it. But uh, the names change after their marriage. Means the name before marriage and name after marriage is different. Again, in case of married woman account, the probability of transferring the account from their hometown to the town where their husband lives, it's again there. So that precaution also needs to be means that precaution also needs to be taken. Similarly, a married woman, if she is a self-earner, if she has enough property on her name, if she has enough transactions with the bank, banks can give loan to her directly if she is an earner by herself. म्हणजे ती जर स्वतःचे पैसे कमवत असेल, so there is no harm in giving loan without taking any consent of her husband. But if a married woman is taking loan, but she is not a self earner, स्वतःचे पैसे जर त्यांना मिळत नसतील, सो इट इज ऑलवेज advisable to take consent of her husband whether the loan is being applied through the consent of both or not, and if not, it is advisable that bank should not give loan to her, right? So these are a bit old provisions, but married women, they do have their own legal status, but if they are not self-earners, so due precaution is taken even about them. The fifth category is a very interesting category. It is non-resident accounts in Indian rupee. They are also called as NRI account. NRI accounts are of two rupee types. The first type is non-resident accounts in Indian rupee, and second is non-resident accounts in foreign currency. That is fifth. We can say that for non-resident accounts in Indian rupee, non-resident Indians who have settled abroad, they have taken citizenship or gone for work abroad, they can come back to India and they have their accounts opened in their branches in the Indian cities. They can open such kind of account by declaring their citizenship status. Even you might remember that when you apply for a bank account, it asks that whether you are a citizen of India or not. So, in case of NRI account, the form is entirely different. So, it asks in which country you have settled, what is the status of your citizenship, and all such details. So, the address, KYC of their own documents over there. So, these formalities are done. Similarly, they can open an account in Indian city. They can transfer their money by themselves and deposit Indian rupees. For example, somebody who has settled in America can open an account in Baramati by declaring that he is an NRI. So bank opens an non-resident account in Indian rupee in Baramati. So when he comes back, he has to convert his own money into Indian rupees. For example, he has $10,000, so he will convert it into Indian rupee and he will make it count as 7 lakh rupees. So, considering that a dollar is 70 rupees or value of the dollar is 70 rupees. So, he can convert those dollars into Indian rupees and deposit that Indian rupees into Indian accounts. Okay, but he can open similarly a second type of account. It is called as FCNR account. FCNR account is foreign currency non-resident account. It's a very important, very useful account for Indian economy. Many foreigners who have settled in diverse countries all over the globe, Indian banks have opened their branches over there. These people or these Indians who are living abroad can open their foreign currency non-resident accounts in India as well as in other countries, in the branches of Indian banks. For example, Bank of India has a huge number of branches all over the world, catering to the non-resident Indians. Similarly, most of the banks have opened their banking accounts in banking branches in many countries. So there also the Indians over there, they can open accounts in these branches. They can take deposits from these people into foreign currency itself. Means if an Indian who has settled in America, and if the branch of State Bank of India or Bank of Baroda or ICICI Bank is in, say, New York, so he can go there and open an account which would be a foreign currency non-resident account. There he can directly deposit and withdraw the money into dollars. He can deposit the dollars and he can withdraw the dollars. Similarly, if he opens such kind of account with an Indian branch in India, for example, there is a branch of State Bank of India and in Mumbai, and somebody who has settled in England comes back to India and opens an account in Mumbai branch, and it's a FCNR account, so he can directly deposit the pounds into that account. Similarly, that branch also means returns him the pounds if he wants. So it depends on the availability of foreign exchange at that place. Here, we must remember that foreign currency non-resident branches are mainly for the foreign nationals who were or whose ancestors were Indians. So FCNR branches in India are very limited. Generally, they are opened in abroad countries. And the last category of individual account holders is Pardanashin women. Now, Pardanashin women are something that is not related with any religion. For example, Muslims have burqa or Hindus have parda. If you go to Rajasthan or if you go to Haryana, so there you will find that the women they cover their on the face with a parda or mask. So when they cover their own face, the identity of such women is very risky. If we open an account with their name, uh, so banks must inquire about their photo, giving their clear image, their KYC document, and then they can open an account of Pardanashin women. पर्दा नशीन म्हणजे काय पर्दा असणारी ठीक आहे की जी स्त्री काय करते की त्यांच्या सामाजिक परंपरांनुसार चेहऱ्यावर पडदा आणते सार्वजनिक ठिकाणी जात असताना बट while dealing with such customers at the bank branch जर ती एखादी अशी स्त्री जर विड्रॉल स्लिप घेऊन आली तर अशा वेळेस बँकेचा जो कोणी अधिकारी तिथे बसलेला आहे he must verify the face and other details by asking that Vardhanashin woman to show her face or identity if the bank employee has any doubt over it. जर बँक एम्प्लॉईला काही शंका असेल तर तो त्या स्त्रीला तिची आयडेंटिटी रिव्हील करण्यासाठी सांगू शकतो. अशा स्त्रियांना की ज्या अशा सामाजिक परंपरांच्या खाली असतात अशांना कर्ज देणं ही देखील आणखीन धोक्याची गोष्ट असते. हेन्स द बँक कॅन हॅव एक्स्ट्रा inquiry with such women that when they apply for a loan, banks should identify whether they have their own property, or they are dependent on the property or income of their husband. If they have independent income, all other things are possible. If they don't have independent income, so then the consent of their husbands is must in if the banks wish to give any sort of loan to these kinds of women, right? So being parda nashin woman is a very risky affair for banks, but banks are having that kind of because of the accounts, because of the KYC. KYC has made the identity of each and everybody very clear, and it's a very useful thing. So these were the types of individual account holders in India. Now we are moving to institutional account holders. Now you know that institutional account holders are a bit different from the individual account holders because generally institutional account holders they have saving as well as current accounts. Generally they have current accounts, so such accounts are opened by institutions to manage their transactions. Institutions are run by a group of people. Institutions are run by a group of people, but to deal with their banking accounts, they appoint an authorized signatory on behalf of all these people. So let us see what are the provisions regarding the institutional account holders in India. Hindu undivided family. This is the first category. Hindu undivided family is is considered as an institution in India while dealing with income tax or even while dealing with any banking operations. Like any other corporate entity, it is held that the Hindu undivided family has perpetual succession and existence. Means even if one person dies, the head of the Hindu family is changed, the CEO of one company is changed. So in that way, the family or the Hindu undivided family, unless otherwise it is destroyed by the intervention of the court, it remains to continue, and all the property of that family members is considered as the property of the family. As you have learned it into your 11th and 12th standard, the family members are considered as co-partners. Whenever an account is opened by an Hindu undivided family, they have to apply to a bank using a separate form, which is for Hindu undivided family. They have to mention the names of all the persons who agree that they are the co-partners of that family, and on behalf of the family they have given the karta, the main person in that undivided family, की ज्याला कर्ता म्हणून दिलेलं असतं, सगळ्यांनी डिक्लेअर केलेलं असतं, त्याच्याबद्दलचं जे लिगल ॲग्रीमेंट आहे ज्याच्यावर सर्वांचे सह्या असतात, जे फॅमिली मेंबर्स असतील, ज्यांना इंग्लिशमध्ये को पार्टनर्स असं म्हणतात. तर मग ह्या को पार्टनर्सच्या सर्व सह्या असणाऱ्या जे एक पत्र असेल, ते पत्र आणि ते हिंदू अनडिवायडेड फॅमिलीचा जी काही माहिती असेल, त्यामध्ये फॅमिलीमध्ये असणारे मेंबर्स, मेजर्स, मायनर्स, तर या सर्वांच्या कन्सेंटनुसार मग हिंदू अनडिवायडेड फॅमिलीचं सर्व ट्रान्झॅक्शन चालू जातात. हिंदू अनडिवायडेड फॅमिलीला लोन देताना सुद्धा अतिशय रिस्की आहे, कारण की लोन अप्लाय करताना जरी तो करत असेल, तरी अशा प्रकारच्या लोनला सर्व को पार्टनर्सची मंजुरी आहे किंवा नाही, वेदर दे अप्रूव्ह ऑफ दॅट loan application or not, it needs to be verified, and banks have to be extra precautious while dealing with such accounts. तर बँकांनी अशा अकाउंटसोबत डील करताना अतिशय काळजी घेणं गरजेचं आहे. त्यानंतर सोल प्रोप्रायटरशिप और सोल प्रोप्रायटरशिप अकाउंट्स हे जे असतात, तर या प्रकारचे अकाउंट म्हणजे काय, की एखादा दुकान चालवणारा व्यक्ती आहे, एखादी छोटी कंपनी चालवणारा व्यक्ती आहे, की त्याच्यामध्ये तो एकटाच प्रोप्रायटर म्हणजे एकटाच त्या कंपनीचा प्रवर्तक आहे, मालक आहे. तर मग अशा वेळेस त्या व्यक्तीने जे अकाउंट उघडलेलं असतं त्याला सोल प्रोप्रायटरशिप म्हणतात. सोल प्रोप्रायटरशिपमध्ये ना त्याचे फॅमिली मेंबर्स ना त्याचे इतर कोणीही बिझनेस पार्टनर्स असतात. त्यामुळं अशा व्यक्तीचं अकाउंट भलेही तो इंडिव्हिज्युअल अकाउंट असलं, मात्र ते बिझनेस अकाउंट असल्यामुळं त्याला काय समजलं जातं, इन्स्टिट्यूशनल अकाउंट होल्डर असं समजलं जातं. असा व्यक्ती करंट अकाउंट आपलं काढू शकतो आणि त्याचे जे नेहमीचे ट्रान्झॅक्शन्स असतील, सो ही कॅन कॅरी दोज ट्रान्झॅक्शन्स ऑन सच अकाउंट्स for business purposes. Generally, all these accounts are open for business purposes, except that the accounts of the sole proprietors, and not just sole proprietors, sorry, Hindu undivided family. Number 3, partnership firms. As you know that most of the times the businesses are never started by one person, or they are started by a group of persons. The group of persons who have a stake in that company are called as partners. We have partnership firms where 2 or 3 or 4 partners are there, and they come together to start that company, take different responsibility in that company. They have different income shares in that company, but they can open banking accounts with banks, and again banks have to take due precaution about whether their partnership agreement is there. It is called as partnership deed. मध्ये पार्टनरशिप डीड आहे का हे व्हेरीफाय करून घ्यावं लागतं बँकांना, आणि वन्स दॅट इट इज अफर्म दॅट द पार्टनरशिप डीड इज देअर, मग त्या पार्टनर्सच्या वतीने कोणता व्यक्ती तो अकाउंट म्हणजे ऑपरेट करणार आहे, ज्याला ऑथराईज सिग्नेटरी असं म्हटलं जातं, मग त्या ऑथराईज सिग्नेटरीच्या व्हेरिफिकेशनच्या सह्या घेतल्या जातात, त्याच्या सह्यांचे स्पेसिमेन घेतले जातात, आणि मग हे स्पेसिमेन घेतल्यानंतर बँका या सगळ्या गोष्टींशी डील करू शकतात. तर अशा प्रकारे हे सर्व अकाउंट्स हे चालवले जातात. ह्याला पार्टनरशिप अकाउंट्स असं म्हणतात. पार्टनरशिपमध्ये सुद्धा कर्ज देत असतील तर इट इज व्हेरी ॲडवायजेबल that banks should take the consent of all the partners, that they agree to the loan that is being taken by the authorized signatory, and once they get satisfied, then only they should give loans to such account holders. Like joint stock companies. Now you know joint stock companies. The word LTD is written before many companies. For example, the Reliance Limited, the Bharti Airtel Limited, for example, Tata Steel Limited. Whenever you find the word limited, it means that it's a joint stock company. Joint stock companies are companies whose shares are uh, distributed on limited liability basis, and sometimes they are listed on stock exchanges also. So such companies can, they are large corporations. Their business size is very huge. To manage their huge business, they can open accounts of different types, and they can also apply for loans. While dealing with such companies is a privilege for the banks. They have huge advantage if they deal with such large customers, because the business that these customers can give to the bank is so huge that maybe many thousand individual customers won't be able to give that kind of business. So it's a privilege for the banks to have the accounts of joint stock companies into their branches. So if it happens that a joint stock company approaches to the bank for starting an account with the bank, so it should again take that the proposal for applying for that banking account in that particular branch must be ratified in the general meeting of that company. आणि मग त्या मीटिंगमध्ये असंही ठरलं पाहिजे की हू इज गोइंग टू बी द ऑथराइज सिग्नेटरी ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द कंपनी. Generally, it is the chief financial officer or CFO. So, and the signatures on all such checks, the banks can make it mandatory, or the company can request the bank that signatures of two people would be necessary. For example, uh, CFO and CEO. So in such cases, it may happen that every case is printed with the names of these two people, and then only after their verification of the signatures, the accounts could be operated. But one more interesting thing happens in case with the joint stock company. The CEOs are and the CFOs are changed many times. So whenever such changes happen, banks must affirm that the resolution of removing the name of earlier CFO and inserting the name of CFO is ratified into the general meeting. Again, banks have to take the specimen signature of the new person, and they have to carry out the transaction in the previous ways. Right. Similarly, there are clubs, associations, and societies. As you know, that in India, the clubs, association, and societies are governed by the state government. They have their own रिलिजियस कमिशनर, आपण मराठीत त्याला धर्मादाय आयुक्त असं म्हणतो. मग हा जो धर्मादाय आयुक्त असतो किंवा रिलिजियस कमिशनर असतो, तो ही कॅन give permissions for the establishment of trusts, societies, and clubs. So once that permission is there, so on behalf of that club, one member is selected as president or the secretary, and one is selected as secretary. Both these people can operate the accounts of that society, club, or associations, and for that again, the resolution of the entire club or society must be taken, and on after such resolution, the chairman and the secretary of that society or that club can operate that saving account with the bank. So it would be the account like same as it is with the joint stock companies. Trustee account. Sometimes banks appoint a trustee or courts appoint a trustee to manage the property of someone, some persons. In such cases, the banks, at the instruction of the court, can open trustee accounts, and again, same like in case of societies or clubs or associations, bank must verify the डॉक्युमेंट्स ऑफ असोसिएशन, म्हणजे ज्या ठिकाणी ती संस्था स्थापन झालेली आहे तर त्याचे त्यांनी कागद पाहिली पाहिजे. They also should check whether such resolution has been raised in that trust, that who's going to be the authorized signatory of that trust. आणि त्याचे इलेक्शन्स होतात, दरवेळेस ट्रस्टची मॅनेजमेंट बदलते, तर प्रत्येक वेळेस मॅनेजमेंट बदलली की ऑथराईज सिग्नेटरी बदलतात. तर मग हे सगळं होत असताना त्याचे रिक्विजिट जे चेंजेस आहेत तर ते जर त्यांना एक्सरसाइज करायचे असतील तर बँकांनी अशा व्यक्तींच्या, अशा सोसायट्यांच्या किंवा अशा क्लब्स असोसिएशनच्या रेझोल्युशन्सच्या कॉपी घेणं अतिशय गरजेचं आहे. इन्स्टिट्यूशनल अकाउंट होल्डर्स कुठले असो, ते मोठ्या प्रमाणामध्ये बिझनेस देणारे असल्यामुळं बँकांना ते हवे असतात. मात्र they have to take precaution on every count when they are dealing with those account holders. And last is the executors and administrator. Executors and administrators म्हणजे काय की समटाइम्स टू एक्झिक्यूट द विल ऑफ अ पर्सन, कोणी मेरताना मृत्यूपत्र करून गेलं तर बँक किंवा कोर्ट काय करतं, एखाद्या व्यक्तीची एक्झिक्युटर म्हणून नोंद करते. एक्झिक्युटर म्हणजे काय, तर त्या व्यक्तीची जी काही प्रॉपर्टी आहे, मयत व्यक्तीची जी प्रॉपर्टी आहे, वैयक्तिक प्रॉपर्टी, ती विकून त्याची उर्वरित जे काही देणी घेणी राहिलेले असतील तर ते देण्यासाठी त्याच्या मृत्यूपत्रानुसार कारभार व्हावा यासाठी बँक काय करते, एक्झिक्युटर नेमला जातो. एक्झिक्युटर म्हणजेच काय, किंवा एक्झिक्युटर किंवा ॲडमिनिस्ट्रेटर म्हणजेच काय, तर प्रशासक नेमला जातो. ही हॅज ऑल द राईट ऑफ मीन्स त्याला जे काही प्रॉपर्टी असेल मयत व्यक्तीची, तर ती मयत व्यक्तीच्या प्रॉपर्टीची डिस्पोज करण्याचा, ही हॅज ऑल द राईट टू डिस्पोज द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ द डिसीज्ड पर्सन ॲज पर हिज विल. आणि मग त्याच्या मृत्यूपत्राप्रमाणे, इथं विलचा अर्थ इच्छा नाही आहे, तर मृत्यूपत्रात व्यक्त केलेली इच्छा असा आहे. त्या मृत्यूपत्रातील इच्छेनुसार ते काय करू शकतात की त्या व्यक्तीची प्रॉपर्टी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करू शकतात ॲडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स, त्याची प्रॉपर्टीची खरेदी विक्री करू शकतात. तर जे जे तो एक व्यक्ती करू शकतो ते हे सगळं ॲडमिनिस्ट्रेटर करू शकतो. आणि मग अशा वेळेस हा जो विलचा एक्झिक्युटर किंवा ॲडमिनिस्ट्रेटर असतो तो त्या व्यक्तीच्या किंवा एकूण संपत्तीचा संचालक या नात्याने काम करत असतो, आणि त्याला ते सर्व अधिकार असतात जे एका व्यक्तीला अकाउंट होल्डर्स ऑपरेट करताना असतात. म्हणजे तो अकाउंट उघडू शकतो, त्याची स्पेसिफिक सिग्नेचरनी अकाउंट हे चालवले जातात, त्यातनं रकमा काढता भरता येतात. बट समटाईम्स these administrators are changed by the RBI किंवा द अपॉइंटिंग ऑथॉरिटी ऑर द कोर्ट. मग यांच्याकडनं जेव्हा अशा प्रकारचे बदल होतात तर त्याच्याबद्दल बँकांनी जागरूक असणं गरजेचं आहे. असं असेपर्यंत banks must take due precaution against the institutional account holders. So this was the information about individual account holders and institutional account holders in India. So be prepared for your exam. Go through these lectures very carefully. We'll be having a final exam very shortly, and the midterm exam again, a second unit test in this coming week. So be prepared for that exam. Right. Thank you.